Welcome back to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex. My co-host Anthony, the Great Rivardo, here to give you another update about the Giants today. A little like Xavier McKinney action. You know how it is. We got to provide the updates on our main guy, second round pick from the 2020 NFL draft, and here we are waiting for him to make his NFL debut. It's been a while, much anticipated, and it's coming to a point where we might see him in the next couple of weeks, maybe even after the bye. But Anthony, before we dive into Xavier McKinney and what he's capable of, what the recent updates are, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about Xavier McKinney. He is a player that I was really excited for in the offseason. I was really disappointed when, like we all were, when he broke his foot in training camp, because I thought
Mm-hmm.
that he could really be a star in this defense, a real X factor in this defense. No pun intended, but I think X-Man could be a real X factor. And so I'm excited to see whenever he does make this return. I think it's going to be very soon, and I'm very excited to finally see him put on the pads, put on a Giants blue jersey, and see him go knock some skulls on the football field.
Absolutely, and he did that for Alabama. He was a guy that fit perfectly in their kind of pro style defense and is going to make the transition over to the Giants in this Patrick Graham led scheme. But what we've seen for the first 10 weeks of the season has been very impressive from Patrick Graham. His players are playing above their weight class. Everything seems to be working fundamentally sound for the most part. A few deficiencies here and there. CB2, they don't have a pass rusher really that can push that pocket really efficiently. One might say they lost Lorenzo Carter to an Achilles injury for the season. Ocean Eximitis has been out with a shoulder issue for quite some time. But this is what I must say: Joe Judge did say Ryan Lewis, Ocean Eximitis, and Xavier McKinney are all expected to be back a few weeks beyond the bye week or immediately following the bye week. So that would be pretty big deal for them, for the Giants defense that's been playing well
Mhm.
already. I think they rank top 10 in points allowed per game. Their run defense is phenomenal. Their pass defense has been lagging a little bit, but that's mainly because of that CB2 spot, Isaac Yadam. And the linebackers, not the best in coverage, but for the most part, we've seen this defense hold up pretty well. They didn't allow a single third down conversion against the Eagles this past weekend.
Mhm.
That's a huge deal because the Giants' defense has kind of collapsed in the fourth quarter. We've seen the past couple of weeks before these two wins, and they've really, really tested their luck. They've been forced into position with the offense, not being able to close things out, not being able to, knock that time of possession down. And here we are, 2 weeks, 2 wins later, and suddenly this defense is playing above their weight class, and we're saying, they look like they're in shape. They look like they're ready to keep going and improving, and gaining back three starting level players is going to be a really, really big deal, even though we don't know what we have with McKinney yet. But Anthony, my friend, my question for you off the bat is, do you think that McKinney will get significant reps? Do you think he'll have some hiccups? What will they be? Where should we expect McKinney to be struggling right off the bat when he returns?
I think that we will see him play quite a bit, but not initially. I think initially they're just going to ease him into the lineup and get him working, working back in since he hasn't
Mm-hmm.
played all season long. He's coming off of an injury. You can't be too cautious with a player as valuable as Xavier McKinney. And one thing I want to point out, this is something that Ryan Dunleavy tweeted. The COVID-19 forced transition to virtual during the Giants bye week due to Graham Gano testing positive means Joe Judge can't see Xavier McKinney, Tay Crowder, Ocean Jimenez on the field and see if they are ready to return. I think Jordan Renan said that they have a practice on Monday, which will be the first time that Judge will be able to see these guys and see whether or not they're healthy enough for a return. But that
Right.
is something that could potentially delay McKinney's return by a week, the COVID situation. But hopefully he'll be able to return right after the bye week and make an impact against Cincinnati. But how much of an impact will he play? Or will he contribute? I'm not completely sure. I don't know how much he's going to be on the field coming off of this injury. It was a very significant injury. This is one that you
Right.
definitely don't want to re-injure, because this is the broken foot injury that, yeah, a lot of players do come back from, but some of them might not be the exact same player that they were before they had it. That's on rare occasions, but usually that's because they tweak it and they re-injure it too soon. So we just have to hope that McKinney is fully healthy when he's on the field and hope that he stays fully healthy, because the last thing we want to see him do is re-injure that foot.
Exactly. And, this is what Joe Judge said about a few guys that are making some progress: linebacker Ocean Eximitis, Ryan Lewis, and safety Adrian Colbert. He said, we're optimistic we should see the majority of those guys, if not all of them, at some point down the stretch. That includes McKinney, by the way. They've all made progress. They're all working very hard with our trainers. I know they're a lot further ahead than they were when they initially went to IR. We just have to see how close they are to getting into game action. And that's really a good sign. It's a good sign they're all making positive progress and really rehabilitating well. Logan Ryan said specifically about Ximini, X is doing a great job. He's working hard. He's here every day, attending every meeting, listening, learning. He's doing everything you can to ask him to do at this point. So,
Mm.
he's truly a student of the game. This is what multiple people have told me. Alabama fans and including people that I have some connections there. But like for the most part, McKinney has been exactly what you want him to be while injured, right? He actually is learning as much as possible. He's taking things in stride. He's soaking all of this information in, and hopefully it will translate to the field. The question
Mhm.
for me is how quickly will it take for him to adapt, and what is the rep count going to look like for him? Because realistically, this defense didn't hit their stride until week 6, week 7, in terms of just stamina and gameplay. They were looking tired, gassed by the fourth quarter. Now they're doing really well. The offense is giving them some more time of possession to work with. So, now we're looking at a defense that has a little bit more rest on the sidelines with the offense playing better. And hopefully, their stamina is up. Everybody's looking a little bit more comfortable in this system, in this scheme. How is it McKinney going to fit into it all? And this is kind of what secondary coach Jerome Henderson hit on. They kind of asked him, what do you expect to see from McKinney? How are you going to use him when he comes back? And he said, that remains to be seen. We'll have to see once we get him back how he's feeling and how he's playing. We'll hopefully get him back really soon and get him introduced into the package in some way, some fashion. I'm not sure yet what that looks like. Jabril has been playing well. Logan is playing well. Julian Love has done a good job for us as well. We have to find a way to get him mixed in with that group. I personally think that McKinney was drafted to be a free safety, and I think he's going to be playing that role alongside Julian Love. They're going to be rotating. That's probably the weakest link in the safety trio right now is Julian Love. Logan Ryan's been playing phenomenal. His communication, his veteran leadership is super important to this team and defense. And then you have Jabril Peppers, who's that strong safety, and he's been playing out of his mind the past 2 weeks. So you don't take him out. You don't want to mess with that. Let him continue to develop this momentum in Patrick Graham's scheme. But for the most part, McKinney and Love, I think, will rotate those reps. I think it'll probably start out with McKinney getting maybe 20%, gradually increasing to 50% as he gets more comfortable. But I don't even think we'll see him really get entirely comfortable until maybe the last week of the season, if not until next year. Really, we just need to get game film on him. This is really just about getting some action for McKinney, seeing him on film, and what he has to offer this team compared to guys like Love and Logan Ryan. Because maybe the Giants decide we want to retain Logan Ryan for a few more seasons, extend him on a deal, which a lot of people are calling for. Anthony, what do you think about two things? Potentially extending Logan Ryan, and what do you think about McKinney, and what do you think his strengths are in this defense?
Yeah, I think we should extend Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan, I definitely think he would be open to it. He seems to love playing for the Giants. It's his hometown team, and he's, had a lot of great things to
Rutgers
say
guy.
about the coaching staff and about the culture that Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman have built with the Giants. So I think Logan Ryan would definitely be interested in that. I would definitely be interested in that. I think that he's really played great this season. I think he's been a really pleasant surprise. He was coming off of a season in Tennessee where he had a lot of ups and downs. He had a lot of great moments, but mixed in with some struggles. This year, it's been kind of similar, but it's been mostly consistently good, and I'm really happy to see that. So that's something with McKinney, though, that when you look at this, how does he fit into this defense right now? Because you can't really take snaps away from Logan Ryan. He's playing at such a high level, and same thing with Jabril Peppers. He's really just been playing better and better each week. So where do you really fit McKinney into this lineup? And then Julian Love is kind of that utility guy who plays around and moves around the defense. I think that is actually the role that McKinney would fit into quite well. I hate to say that it would take snaps away from Julian Love, but McKinney, you asked me where does he fit in this defense? That is the role that he fits. He's a very versatile player. He played all over the Alabama defense. He lined up in the box, in the slot. He was actually very efficient in the slot. He
Mm-hmm.
lined up at free safety, strong safety. He lined up all over the place, outside cornerback even at times. And one thing that I noticed with Xavier McKinney, his main trait that I think is really impressive in his game is his ability to play man coverage, especially against slot receivers and tight ends. He is like really good in the slot playing man coverage, and that was the most
Mm-hmm.
impressive thing to me. And then also his just awareness, filling gaps, shooting holes, as a run defender and run support. I did notice he missed quite a few tackles sometimes. I think that's something he's going to have to
Mm-hmm.
shore up once he gets to the
That's
league,
technique
especially with
based.
the increased playing speed. It was a technique problem sometimes. He
Judge will
just
get that
his
out of him. Judge
exactly.
will
He
work
just
that
wasn't
out.
right. We saw that in the in training camp with those drills that he was doing that he caught some
Hmm.
unnecessary criticism for, but now we're a great tackling team because of it, right? So I think that, that's something McKinney will clean up. But, he really can be a big part of this defense. He could play a major role in pass coverage and even run defense. I'm really excited to see him play once he gets on the field, and I'm really hoping that it's right after this bye week against Cincinnati. I think that would be a huge boost to this team, even if he's only playing a limited number of snaps.
100% agree. And I think that Patrick Graham's scheme fits his style perfectly because in Miami, Patrick Graham
I
played cover
concur.
one about 50% of the time. And that's what he's strong in cover one. He's really good at, he has
Hmm.
some of the best game speed for a safety you can find. He was the number one rated safety in the draft for a reason. He is capable of getting across the field quickly, manning up in coverage, and also just playing the run well. He can actually rush the passer. We saw one rep against I forget who was against, but he completely bodies an offensive lineman,
It
and it
was
was like
either against Texas A&M or Mississippi State. If you want to watch that clip, go back on the channel, find the Xavier McKinney film review. It'll be in there. That was a video that I think I did a really good job on. I know a lot of
mhm,
viewers really loved it.
phenomenal
So
job.
if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Very informative. You can really get a good idea of who Xavier McKinney is as a player.
Exactly. And Patrick Graham loves to use these three safety looks and really
Hmm.
variate between them and shade them and do different creative things. And that's what I expect McKinney to fill that role that maybe Julian Love isn't really capable of doing because he's more of a free safety. He can play the run pretty well. He actually plays the run a little bit better than he does in coverage. But for the most part, I think McKinney can be an elite run stopper from a free safety position. And also, like, they can utilize Jabril Peppers and Logan Ryan in unison with them. They can drop back into coverage while McKinney moves up toward the run, toward the line of scrimmage. They can do so many things to keep opposing offenses on their toes. And that's where it's going to come. This defense is going to come into. It's not going to be predictable. Offenses are going to have a really tough time figuring out these coverage schemes because they're just going to rotate these guys and just do different things with them. And that's what I love about this trio and why I think Logan Ryan is a guy you want to keep around because that veteran
Hmm.
leadership, that knowledge of the game goes a long way for guys like McKinney who don't really have it down yet, don't have that NFL experience. Having a guy like Logan Ryan next to him on the field goes a really long way in helping him adapt and learn the system quickly. Because I think without Logan Ryan, this defense might be completely different. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think he's played a huge role in this defense in coverage and run support. I've seen him do a lot of great things. And I'll say I think that once Xavier McKinney enters this lineup, one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on is Jabril Peppers. I think he's going to end up playing a lot more money backer. We're going to see him line up as a linebacker in the nickel
Mhm.
situation a lot more frequently if Xavier McKinney's out on the field because Xavier McKinney actually did play a lot of strong safety at Alabama. He played down in the box quite a bit. And I think that, that's something that we'll continue to see once he starts playing on the field for the Giants. And I think that that would just have to mean that inside linebacker two, obviously inside linebacker one is going to continue to be Blake Martinez, but we've kind of had a revolving door at that second inside linebacker position. And I think that that's something that Jabril Peppers actually could fill. That void right
Mhm.
there, while Xavier McKinney plays that strong safety role.
That's a really interesting idea, by the way. Having Joel Peppers fill the inside linebacker kind of position right there. I think that actually might work out well. Another one of our guys, Matt, also has been calling for the same thing. Move Peppers down to that or to linebacker, and really that cover guy, that cover linebacker who can match up well against running backs and tight ends, and then take Logan Ryan and moving him to strong safety. What do you think about that? Maybe even McKinney's just rotating those two guys there.
I think that's a great idea. I think that Logan Ryan's role is free safety. I think that's where he plays best in this defense, and I think that's where he should continue to play. And I think Jabril Peppers, while he's done a great job at the strong safety position so far this season, like I said, getting better week to week, and that's really encouraging. I do think that a lot of his best plays have come down in the box at that money backer position. So seeing
Mm-hmm.
him play that role more frequently with McKinney at the strong safety position might really just be getting the best of both worlds and getting all of your best players on the field and maximizing their strengths to the fullest.
Right, and just to review everything that we just talked about, this is really supposed to be focusing on Xavier McKinney when he's going to be coming back, updating you on his progress. So essentially, I'm expecting him to return by week 13 after the Bengals game. I think it's the Cardinals they play in week 13, right?
I believe so. It's either Cardinals or Seahawks. I'm not sure which one. I think it's the Cardinals.
Either way, two tough teams. It's not going to be easy. So I think McKinney's going to be, baptism by fire with these kind of teams. Not going to be an easy place to play. and teams to face off against. So I think that we should expect to see him week 13 minimum, maybe even week 14. But obviously, the sooner you get him, the sooner the better you can get him into the system and let him learn the scheme and communicate with these other players and really get some essential knowledge and chemistry. It's all about the chemistry building. That's why Ryan Lewis and Isaac Yiadom have taken very gradual steps forward, because it takes a couple of weeks for you to finally get a hold of Patrick Graham's scheme. He might come off as if he's really establishing the base concepts, but he's not. This guy is one of the most intellectual coordinators you can find. He's extremely detailed with everything he does. What he puts on, the show he puts on, is just so other teams don't get to figure out what he's trying to do, because everything he does, the communication that's going on the field is unbelievable. That's why you need guys like Ryan, these veterans that can come in and help you transition this defense with the youngsters. We had a lot of young players on this defense, and I think they've been doing a very good job of really getting the veterans and the knowledge and passing it along to the young guys so that they can actually play well in game. But Anthony, do you have anything else to add to McKinney and what you think of him?
Yeah, I also just checked. It's Seattle in week 13, then Arizona. So just throwing that out there, and then. Like I said, I just think that, you hit on Patrick Graham, the amazing job that he's done this season. We've been ranting and raving about how phenomenal he's been all year long. And really what I love is how he's gotten the most out of every single player. Even like the players that have struggled, Isaac Yiadom and Ryan Lewis, these are guys who probably would not be even seeing the field on other teams, but they're playing at least at a competitive level to where they're not completely killing our defense, right? And then players like Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams might make the Pro Bowl this year. He's looking like a serious force on the interior.
Seriously.
And that's a big product of Patrick Graham. I see him line up Leonard Williams in very, unique ways. Line him up as an edge rusher sometimes, have him stand up from the interior. He does a lot of unique things. It's a very complex defense, but the players are clearly understanding it well enough to get the job done. So I'm excited especially because he's using players at such versatile roles, and you have such a versatile player like Xavier McKinney, who's so talented, and I'm so excited to watch him play. I do think he's going to thrive in this Patrick Graham defense, and I think he's going to finish off the season strong for us and hopefully help us make that playoff push that we're all desperately hoping that the Giants can make as we sit in prime position to make a run here at 3-7 after knocking off the Philadelphia Eagles last week. I'm very excited to see where this season goes.
I'm still riding that high. I'm still riding that high, baby.
Me too. And it's just going to it should just get better coming out of this bye week. We've got a favorable matchup against Cincinnati, and hopefully we have an extra defender coming in, Xavier McKinney. Hopefully all continues to go well. Yeah, O'Shane's in minutes. Hopefully he comes back too.
We need another pass rush. Those outside linebackers are thin right now, but I will say this. I really want to see the Giants compete against Arizona, against the Seahawks, really good teams. I really want to see them step up and make some plays.
I think they could surprise.
I think they can too. I think they really can surprise. And that's what we want to see, though. We know they can beat the crappy Washingtons of the world. Even the Eagles are struggling. They look like trash, and they know it. Their coach was like, we're embarrassed of the way we played and the way we've been playing. So I think the Giants, living up to expectations and playing against some of these better teams and showing that they can stay in these games, even win, that's what we want to see as fans. That is better than a win right now, in my opinion. If they lose a close game to a team like the Cardinals or the Seahawks, that says a lot about where we are. That really tells me that we're really close to turning that corner, and we're maybe a couple of players away from really getting, over the hump. So, Giants fans, you know what to expect. You know what to expect with Xavier McKinney. Some of these guys coming back, you heard it right here. Hear from the coaches. You read their quotes directly. So, happy for you guys to hear that McKinney's coming back soon, and I'm really happy that you guys are enjoying these videos, these little quick hitters, updates daily. I'm trying to get more of these out and provide some really quality content on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, Facebook. We have it all. So appreciate all you guys, Fireside Giants squad, and number one fan of the Joe Judge fan club here, Anthony. We'll catch you guys later.
TVSO.